What's up, guys? So today I'm gonna be talking about 7 reasons as to why you're probably broke. And this certainly applied to me, and although it seems pretty elementary, you'd be amazed on how many people, suffer from these issues that are simply easy to fix. The first issue I wanna hit on is basically you setting a low bar for yourself in terms of how much money you can make and how much money you can save and how much money you can invest. Now, everybody can, for the most part, assuming that you have all your faculties, right? You can, live comfortably, make enough money, and still invest and save your money. It's not rocket science, right? It's just a lot of work. And unfortunately, obviously, there's gonna be people who are in, a lot of more difficult situations. You have a family, you have kids, maybe you have kids young, medical issues, etc. But I'm talking about, for the general population, the general person watching this video, you can totally do it, and it doesn't matter if you're working at Walmart. It doesn't matter if you're working at McDonald's, making minimum wage, basically what I'm trying to get at. You can, set your life up, and that starts today. It starts the moment you decide you're going to do this and change your life financially. That is the starting point for you to reach this goal. So you want to raise that bar. In order for you to do that, you have to get moving, you have to get going, earn that first dollar. Once you get that first dollar, put that dollar into an investment account. Watch that dollar grow. It's not gonna grow much, obviously, for a dollar, but you will see some growth, and you'll see what's possible, and you'll see what you can do, and that little feeling of success will keep you moving forward, and keep you moving forward in the long run. The more and more you keep having those little successes, right? Those little bits of dopamine rushes will keep you moving. Most of us have been taught that money. You probably heard this saying, right? Money is the root of all evil. A penny saved is a penny earned, right? If you watch Dave Ramsey, he kind of says that a lot. And to some extent, those things are true. Obviously, there's some moral issues when it comes to money. It's not money that's evil, it's the people using the money, and for whatever reasons they're using the money for. And a penny saved is a penny earned, true, but also you want to invest that penny. There's some things, right? Some nuances. It's not so black and white, but the people that I see that have money, they're not worrying about putting food on their table. They're not worried about paying rent. They're not worried about their mortgage. They're not worried about their car payments. The people that I see suffering, unfortunately, are the ones that are really not financially stable, and it sucks to see. And that's kind of why I'm doing this. I have this channel up. It's to kind of motivate and hopefully reach some of you out there that are feeling a little discouraged and feel like reaching these financial goals are impossible. Not too long ago, 2.5 years ago, I was in a 1-bedroom apartment with just a mattress and a TV, and I ended up selling that TV to make some money. I sold my couch to make some money. I was already in the military. I've been in the Air Force for the last 5.5 years. I ended up having to work at Walmart at night. I would work in the military from 8 to about 4:30, 5 o'clock every day, Monday through Friday, and then I'd go to Walmart at night around 6:30 through midnight. I would work at Walmart from Monday through Friday, sometimes on the weekends, and I did that for basically a whole year. And it was not easy, right? But eventually, I rolled with the punches. I put away the money that I wasn't using. I was not, going out. I was not drinking alcohol. I was only buying necessities, going to work, coming home, going to work again. And eventually I got out of the hole I was in. I was in tons of debt. I'm making terrible financial decisions prior to that. And eventually I did it. And I could have been in I'm not gonna lie to you, I was very depressed. I was very sad, especially with the circumstances I was in at the time. But eventually you got to snap out of it, and you have to realize that it's not permanent, and you can get out of it, and you can have more, and you can be what you do today and what you are today will not define you tomorrow, right? And it's kind of the concept of believing in yourself first, that you can do this, and then, you know, as soon as you believe in yourself, that's when you take action and you get going, right? When you hit the ground running and you have momentum, and that's kind of the whole point of number one. Number two, you probably don't have clearly defined goals. If you're not having set goals in terms of your finances, you're not going to reach said goals. If you're earning $10 an hour, you know, working 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, you know, say like I was at Walmart, you know, it's relatively easy, or possible rather, to earn $1,000 a month, right? Maybe even $1,500 a month, depending on your hours and depending on the rate that you're receiving working. That's totally possible. Now, is that comfortable? Is that living comfortably? Probably not, unless you're living at home, or if you have a bunch of roommates or something along those lines. If you're putting in the work to go ahead and reach that financial goal. Say if your goal is $1,000, boom, you worked at Walmart, you worked there for a month, boom, you have $1,000. Obviously, it's not as easy as that. You have to pay your bills, groceries, maybe you have kids, right? Then you have to figure out a way for you to reach $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. It's very possible, and it's a lot easier today than it's ever been, right? I mean, gosh, I drive by so many places and it says now hiring. I go online, tons of jobs are hiring. Obviously, you need to improve your skill set. You need to be able to be marketable to companies and places. You know, if you want to be an entrepreneur, it's a lot of work, but it's very possible. You just got to figure out your niche and what you're going to pursue, what type of business you want to pursue. But you know, there's tons of avenues and tons of ways for you to make money, right? You just got to put in that work, and you have to believe in yourself. You have to raise that bar. So raise that bar, put in the work, set your goal, right? And then pretty much use that momentum to move forward. As soon as you reach that goal, that financial goal, and you have that money in the bank, that leads me to number three, which is create a budget, right? So the third reason why you're probably broke is because you don't have a budget, right, set up. And personally, I do a month-to-month budget. So beginning of every month, I set up a budget using Microsoft Excel, or sometimes I'll just write it down depending on basically how I'm feeling that day, and I'll create a budget. Now, creating a budget, super simple. How much are you making? How much money are you bringing in every month, right? And then how much are you spending? So your income minus your expenses, and basically from there, that's a rough draft from your budget, right? Then you can figure out the nuances and all the other stuff, right? You want to figure out, you know, what's your income, you know, or your utilities, your rent, your insurance, your car, all those good things. You want to jot down, and see what you're working with, because the rest of that money you want to put into things that other assets, right? You want to put into investments, things that are making you money. You know, you work hard for that money. You want that money to work hard for you. That's kind of how I put it, right? It's not as simple as that, but in a nutshell, that's what you want to do. And that's kind of the whole purpose. The whole purpose of having a budget is to create financial freedom for you and your family, or if you don't have a family, then it's just you, and you want to make your life more comfortable. That's one of the first ways you're going to get to that point. You know, I can say I was suffering personally, financially before I made a budget, before I got in the habit of making a budget. Now I make a budget monthly, but then, to be honest with you, I also make like a long-term budget. I try to forecast what the income that I'm having in the next 6 months to a year. And in all honesty, I just have the fear of being broke, and I don't want to be broke anymore. So a little less than 2 years ago, I started getting the habit of creating a budget, and it saved my butt, I gotta tell you. I found I was overspending in car insurance. That's another thing. If creating a budget will make you scratch your head when you're looking at certain expenses, you're like, man, maybe I'm overpaying for things, and it'll make you get in the motion of figuring out what you're overpaying for. For example, me, I was like, man, I must be overpaying for car insurance, and then I figured out what I was actually spending, right? The deductibles and all that, and I found out that I was overspending, and I was like, okay, can we remove this, remove that? and I was able to shave a bunch of money off my car insurance payments. I refinanced my car, so now my monthly payments are lower. I didn't figure all that out until I created my budget, and I was like, holy cow, I'm overspending. Now I can use that money for my investments, or I can use that money for a nice dinner, or whatever the case may be, right? And so you want to create that budget so you can have that freedom, right? You're tired of being stressed out about money. You're tired of being you're feeling like you're just hitting a wall all the time because you feel like you're just working your butt off and you're not getting anywhere. And your habits are creating this problem. And you want to build good habits. And one of the good habits is creating that budget. Number 4, you have too many subscriptions to things. Okay, so this applied to me at a huge level. Pretty much the reason why I put that number 4, and I talked to a lot of people and I realized that they also suffer from this as well. How many people you talk to and they say, I was watching Hulu over the weekend, and then Netflix, and I got Disney Plus, HBO Max, right? They tell you that they have all these subscriptions, and they don't even realize they're spending a couple $100, right? Obviously each subscription is about $10. You're probably spending like $60 if you only have those 5 or 6 common subscriptions, but there's tons of subscriptions, right? Just open up the App Store on your phone, and you find that there's so many in-app purchases and subscriptions that you don't even realize you probably have, and you're paying for, and that stuff adds up. And if you just look at your bank statements and you look at your accounts, you realize that, holy cow, I'm overspending way too much money on these subscriptions, and I barely even use them. That's certainly my issue, right? I had subscriptions to like Hulu and some other apps, right? I don't want to disparage them, but apps that I wasn't using on a frequent basis, right? Because I was just too busy. I'm working, going to school at night. I don't have the time to always be on those apps, and I wasn't using it. But meanwhile, I'm spending $10 to $15, $20 for these apps. And I was like, okay, I need to cancel them. Sure enough, cancel them. Now I had an extra $100 or so in my account every month. $100 doesn't seem a lot, but $100 you can do a lot with, right? Groceries, gas. I mean, gas is crazy expensive right now. If you live in America, probably all over the world, but gas is crazy expensive. And you can, every dollar that you have, you can utilize for something else. You want to figure out what the opportunity cost is, right? And so you want to make sure that you're putting your best foot forward in every direction that you're trying to go with your own money, right? So make sure that if you are paying for certain subscriptions, that you are not basically wasting your money, right? Entertainment, I would say, is a waste of money. To be quite honest with you, you want to try, and this is my own personal belief, but you should be putting more money into your education and to things that are going to be benefiting you, right? Like for example, I don't mind paying a 3% fee with the Acorns app that I use for my investments, because I know it's making me money. I don't mind paying for certain study tools online to make money, and so you want to make sure that the money that you are spending in these subscriptions and things like that are giving you some sort of ROI or return on investment. So the 5th thing that I believe is making you broke is your debt, right? Credit cards in particular, and this was also something personal to me. I had tons of credit card debt, and it was like not going anywhere. It was just basically growing, and I even maxed out a card, right, at one point, and that's part of the reason why I was working at Walmart. I was like, okay, I'm never gonna get out of this hole. I'm not making enough money in the military at the time to kind of cover things, or else at least I thought, right? I set the bar kind of low at the time for myself. So I got another job thinking that was going to help it, and it did. Eventually I did get out of debt. I was in about, in terms of just credit card debt, I had over $5,000, I believe, in credit card debt, which doesn't seem a lot to some of you, but to a lot of you, and to me, even now, $5,000 is a lot of money. It was heartbreaking, and it seemed like I was never going to get out of that hole. With credit cards, most of you know, or you should know, is that it has interest, right? So credit cards build interest on the payments, right? And so you think you owe $30, in reality you owe, $35, $40, depending on whatever the interest rate you have on your credit card is, right? Obviously. And that stuff builds up, especially if you don't pay it on time. And you don't want to wait until you have the minimum payment. You have to pay the minimum on that credit card. You want to make sure you pay it off right away, right? And that's kind of part of what Dave Ramsey explains with his debt snowball, right? You want to pay off those debts that are recurring high interest rates. If you're not spending money on these debts, you can spend money on the things you want, and you can spend money and you can put money into these investments. Number 6, you're making terrible decisions when it comes to investing. That is certainly one that hits me close too, because when I started doing this investing thing, I just wanted to get straight into it, right? I was kind of just jump the gun, get in there, and see if I can swim. That was pretty much what I was doing, right? I wasn't reading much. I wasn't studying investing. I wasn't doing any of those things. Although some people are successful at doing that. During the pandemic, I was actually investing in a bunch of things. They all pretty much crashed and burned. You want to know what you're doing, and if you're not confident, and maybe you are confident, but you're faking it and you don't actually know. Learn from other people, and there's tons of resources online. Like I said on the previous video, Investopedia. If you have TD Ameritrade has tons of education resources on that app, and so on and so forth. There's tons of things. YouTube, right? My channel, I try to be informative. I'll do more videos in the future about specifically what I'm doing in terms of investing, other than the Acorn stuff and Betterment and all that. But yeah, you want to be educated, and so that you can avoid making those fibs. And then number 7, you just have to go. A big part of reaching this goal is just not being lazy. That was a big issue for me. Just do it, right? In the words of Shia LaBeouf, just do it. It's so true. I mean, you just gotta get your butt up and get going. It doesn't matter if you don't know what you're doing. Get started, because eventually you'll learn. Eventually you'll know what to do. Eventually you'll get to that point. Every moment, every day that goes by that you continue to push, towards that direction, that just means every day or every time that goes by, every moment, you're getting closer and closer to that goal. I mean, tons of people who are successful don't rely on luck. Luck is when hard work meets opportunity, and that's very true, right? You want to keep putting in the work, put in the effort, and not just mindless work, right? You want to, like I said, this kind of all ties in together, right? From number 1, when it comes to raising that bar for yourself, it's just effort, and it's discipline, and the want, the need, and the desire to go ahead and change your life and change where you're at, right? Because the person you are today isn't going to be the person you are tomorrow, and it's not going to be the person you are the next day after that, and you're going to change. And while you're changing, you might as well have your bank account changed, and in a positive direction. So that's it for today, guys. I appreciate you guys watching. Honestly, I love the support. I thank you. Every day our channel is growing, very minute, but it's still growing. If you like this video, please like, comment, subscribe. If you get a chance, follow me on Instagram, Troy Panji, name of the channel. And I will see you guys pretty soon. All right, peace.